Okay. All right, so let me start in the pump definition. So for this workshop, we created 3 different scenarios. We created a scenario where we have only one of these pumps running, another where we have both of them running, and another where we have one of them running, but we are kind of really ignoring the pumped flows. So we're going to take a look at each of those and see what they mean. So let's start with the pump definition. Oh, thank you very much. I was not sharing. I very much appreciate your comment there. All right, so you guys should be able to see my screen now. Great. So we have the same pump curve for pump 1 and pump 2. And the design point, so the most efficient point, is 800 gallons per minute, as we have the best efficiency point here. But the design point is for this pump to deliver 1,060 gallons per minute and at a head of 30 feet. So it can lift 30 feet or add 30 feet of energy and provide 1,000 gallons per minute. That would be the ideal design point for that particular pump. Okay, so keep that in mind. About 1,000 gallons, 30 feet. All right, so let's start with the first scenario, one pump. I've computed it already, but I'll just compute it here so you can see what is going on. All right, so I'll refer to this PDF page here with the results. So notice that for all 3 of our scenarios, 1 pump, 2 pumps, and pass loads, the flow into the wet well is the same. It's 319 gallons per minute, right? Which you could see by looking at the flow through this P18, right? So that is not going to change. We know exactly what our incoming flow is. Now remember that we're doing this whole workshop in steady state, so we don't really know how things change over time, so we're going to assume this is our average incoming flow. All right, so 319. In the first scenario, as you can see here, because of the flow arrows, there's only flow going through pump 1. And if I click on pump 1, the first thing that I can see is the results, and it says, oh, it's passing 575 gallons per minute, lifting it at 45 feet. Let's take a look at the pump curve first. Okay, I've stretched this a little bit. You see that if I move it, it might look distorted a bit. But this is telling me where this pump is operating right now. Basically the same 2 points I just read to you. It's delivering 575 gallons per minute, and the head is 45 feet. Why? Well, because this is the point that it intercepted the system head curve and the red curve that we see here, which is the pump curve, and determined that's what the pump has to do to deliver that flow. Okay, so first of all, the head 45 feet. Why is it 45 feet? Well, you could see that the wet well elevation, so the water level, is 553 feet, right? And it has to bring it all the way up to 585 feet. Okay, so somebody can do the math, and I think that's about 32 feet, right? So that's the static lift. So right there, 32 feet in elevation difference. Plus, whatever head losses occur. So if we know that the head for this pump was 45 and 35 of those feet are elevation difference, then we can assume that 13 feet, which is the difference, right, get wasted due to friction. One way we can see this is by looking at a profile. I'm going to create a quick profile here. I'll spend a little bit more time on the first one so that we understand this crystal clear. All right, so this is the wet well here. Remember, elevation 553, that's the water level. And it has to bring it all the way up to here at 585, which is the manhole, right? So the difference in elevation here is a static lift of 32 feet. And then we see that the pump had to go all the way up to here, providing a head of 45 feet, because all these head losses are attributed to the head loss through that force main. Okay? Is that clear? So, now that we have that in mind, let's go back and look at our pump definition. This pump is meant for a design point of 30 feet. So right there, instead of being where it should be, about 1,000 gallons per minute and 30 feet, which is right here, if you can see my cursor, now it's basically operating right about here. So again, we can operate anywhere along the pump curve, but that's not necessarily the most efficient place for our pump. Okay, so this is kind of the extent of work you can do for a pump in a steady state simulation. We do not know in a steady state how many times a day this pump has to turn on and off. We do not know cycle times because we're not doing that kind of analysis. We couldn't tell if this is for the peak flow or the average flow. We don't really know all that information. So all we can see with the steady state is really how well suited our pump design point and efficiency compare to where it's operating at. That's all we can see. And the way we see it, it's really not matched well. But again, this is something that we should all be doing in extended period simulations to see the cycling, all the ranges of flows of this pump. Now, one other thing to keep in mind, and let me go back to that profile, is that the wet well was almost empty. Had the wet well been full, let's say at elevation 560, then the static lift would have only been like 25. So we would have been a little bit closer to that design head. Okay, so that's all the information that we're getting out of this. All right, so now that we understand that, let's go back and look at all the other numbers. So it says 319 gallons per minute are going into the well from the gravity system. And then 575 are being pumped out. So we're emptying the wet well, right? How much exactly are we getting? Basically the volume that was in the wet well, or the water that was in there, 256. So if you add up these two numbers, you get your 575. That's the flow. And that's basically the information that we can see. What happens when we have one pump? Let me tell you where that is all coming from. So I'm going to go back to pump 1 and do a system head curve. And you can leave the default maximum flow, you can change that. I always just leave the default. So that basically defines the x-axis on this drawing. So if you wanted to just narrow it down and get a little bit closer here, you could make this smaller, I guess, and recalculate. So we're just kind of shopping that there. But here what we can see is the blue line, remember, represents our system head curve. And this is, a somewhat steep curve, and it represents what? It represents the pressure portion of the system that we are looking at. So exactly this first portion is our static lift. Remember we said it was 32 feet, so yes, we can add and subtract. And then the rest, it's saying, okay, to move 250 feet, you would have to lift the static lift plus some head losses. For 500, static lift plus a lot more head losses. So it has found that the point where it intersects our curve here is the one that we had found earlier, which was 45 feet and 575 gallons per minute. All right, so that is how we came up with that value. And I'm not going to keep this curve. I will go back here and show you. All right, so that's where we get our pump head and flow at that operating point, again, that intersection of those two lines. And then we also get to see what is the velocity in the force main 4 and what's the head loss gradient. So this is a very long pipe, 8-inch in diameter, and we see that so it's 1,850 feet, and the total head losses for that is 12.11 feet. There's also head losses in these other 3 pipes, but they're smaller, not as significant in terms of the head losses. So it's mostly the head losses happen here. Okay, so hopefully this all makes a lot of sense. And because we have a flow of 575 gallons per minute through that pipe, we can see the velocity was I'm going to search it over here, 3.67 feet. Okay. And if you want to see a gradient, you can also look at that here. So the total head loss is 12.11, but if you divide it by the length of that pipe, you get a gradient of points. You can even add more units. I'm going to display the precision so you get to see it's 0.0065 feet per foot of length. Okay. All right, so that's what happens when we have one pump on. And then we said, okay, what would happen if I had 2 pumps on? And so we run this scenario. And if we look at our system head curve, we get to see the effect of having our 2 pumps on. You can see that here it's kind of relatively flat, the system head curve, and then it just spikes up quite significantly. So this curve is showing us a flow of, and let me open up this so I can see exactly, 331 gallons per minute. So this particular pump 1 has to pump 331 gallons per minute, and the head is about 49 feet. So why is that? Because now we're basically shoving more flow, a combined flow of 661 gallons per minute through that 8-inch pipe, and there's a lot more friction, so you have to, each pump generates a pump head of 49 feet. So it doesn't really seem that that useful, right, to have 2 of them at the same time. And I can just show you this table so we get to compare both of them. So one pump was pumping 575 gallons per minute, and 2 of them 661. So we have a marginal increase of like 90 gallons per minute. running 2 pumps. And we can see that the operating point is nowhere, it's actually getting further away from our design point. Remember, our design point was 1,000 gallons per minute and 30 feet. Now we're 300 gallons per minute and almost 50 feet. So it looks even worse if you run the 2 pumps. Okay, and then you can see that obviously because there's more flow, the velocity gets a little bit higher, but it's not too bad. You know, we say in pressure systems, velocities should vary between 2 and 8 feet per second with an average of 5 feet per second. So the velocity is not bad. And then we get to see the head loss gradient has increased on that FM4 to 0.00849 because more flow, more resistance, more head loss due to friction. Okay? So again, a lot of the questions that we have are not being answered because we're only doing steady state. We're just really looking how well are we matched in regards to the design point of those pumps and where we're actually operating. So it doesn't look too good. So let's take a look at the third scenario, which was the pass loads. If you look at this, we know that we have 319 gallons per minute coming into the wet well. And then there's another question here. What is the flow at the outfall? Well, with 1 pump, it was 575. With 2 pumps, 661. But with pass loads, it was 319. Even though the pump was pumping 575, why is it showing 319? And that was a very good question that Lee asks. And the answer to that lies in this graph that we showed during the presentation, which is what happens far downstream because of the attenuation. Right? So if you look near the pump, yes, you're going to be seeing the 575, but if you really look far downstream, that flow gets attenuated over time, and you're never really going to see 500, you're going to see a lot less. So a lot of people, when they're looking at the effects far downstream of a pump, might want to just ignore the high peak of the pumped flows and go with whatever is being passed from the gravity system. So it's important to understand that. I personally always like to see exactly what flow is being pumped out. But, you know, we add things that some designers might find useful for them. So that's why that option is there.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.